Window World, the official windows of the Kansas City Chiefs, presents Kevin Keatsman Has Issues online at windowskansascity.com.
What a fantastic time we had at the Great Lenexa BBQ this weekend, which was attended on Friday evening by thousands and thousands of Kansas Cityans. There were about a couple of hundred entries, or just under a couple hundred entries, into the Great Lenexa BBQ. And a wide variety of people do this, from professionals in the industry that are very, very serious and win ribbons and prizes and maybe even turn it into a business, a restaurant or a sauce company or whatever. And then there are those that just throw big parties, which is what happened with the group I was with on Friday. I was just honored that my friends Steve McGavran and Bill Watkins invited me and the friend you can't mention on the podcast to enter ribs into competition. I've never smoked anything in my life. I mean, literally, I don't have a smoker. Don't really know what I'm doing. But this was such a massive operation, and they had so many smokers in their basically two-team setup tent that Bill and Steve couldn't enter everything on their own, so they brought in some other people. They needed deckhands, if you will, and that's what I was. I was an excellent gopher for these folks. It was a long afternoon setting up on Friday, and then the big party on Friday night, and then, of course, things like early morning, 5 a.m. coffee on Saturday and donuts, and that's basically what I'm good at. Go get some ice, throw this trash away, do that sort of thing. So I helped. I did at one point sprayed some apple juice, I think, on the ribs or something that was on the smoker, and I held a pan when they took them off and things like that. So I was not much help. And we weren't great. To cut to the chase, the friend you can't mention on the podcast and I placed 122nd in ribs. But I do think there was about 40 or 50 teams that finished below us, which is okay, I'll take it. Now, the friend I can't mention on the podcast is really good at smoking meats, and he does this at home all the time. And we've had many great meals at their house, and he's fantastic. But these weren't the ribs that he normally makes. These were contest ribs, more St. Louis style or whatever, and they're not the kind that we like. And apparently you don't make them fall off the bone because the judges like them to have a little tear or pull to them. I don't understand any of it. But it didn't matter. We had a fantastic time, and we were basically the hit of the Great Lenexa BBQ on Friday when Fox 4 showed up after I tweeted out a picture of a small gator that our guys were smoking. And everybody at the barbecue wanted to come by and see this. The kids especially loved it. You can see it if you go check out my Twitter feed. You'll see what Gary the Gator looked like before he was devoured by the guests that showed up for dinner and drinks on Friday evening. And the preliminary numbers are in. These were sent to me by my friend Steve, who organized and put together this entire deal. He's amazing. The party on Friday night, this is a much more serious part than the actual competition for this group. I think 150 people or more RSVP'd, and they were obviously going to bring guests. So in all, over 200 people attended the party on Friday night, where Steve and Bill and the entire crew served up 60 pounds of pork, 50 pounds of chicken, 40 pounds of sausage, 30 pounds of brisket, 12 pounds of slaw, 20 pounds of beans, 20 pounds of mac and cheese, 10 pounds of corn dip, 10 handles of Tito's vodka, 15 12-packs of Fresca, 8 cases of water, 200 seltzers, 300 Busch Lights, 200 Michelob Ultras, 34 bags of ice at 20 pounds each, and 1 alligator. It was an unbelievable Friday evening. Just so much fun, and you just couldn't see better people. I wrote about this on the Patreon post over the weekend on Sunday, and the reason I bring it up is this is kind of who and what we are. There was so much Americana. It was really fun to see the Lenexa Police Department out there, and they had their mobile command center. And they weren't doing a lot of policing because these were all just nice, fun-loving, responsible people at a beautiful park in Lenexa that has hills and woods and ponds and walkways around them. It's just an unbelievable setup for one of these barbecue competitions. The entire Lenexa Police Department wound up being there. Most of them were off on Friday evening, and they had their own barbecue party around their mobile command center where they were grilling and cooking, and the kids were playing football and doing all this. It was just great to see this. I bring it up because one of the reasons that you folks have told me why you love this podcast is when we start talking about Americana, about a way of life, about who we are and what we are, why we live the way we do, what growing up in the Midwest and being a Midwesterner in the United States is all about. And I can't think of anything more iconic than some of these barbecue competitions. The people there are just the best. And again, we had people on either side of us that were very serious. Not necessarily serious, right? Like the dude next to us had one of those trailers with air conditioning in it, and he wasn't outside much. Like he was tending to his smoker. It was a very small deal. It looked like his family, maybe his son was there and his wife, and a couple of friends came over on Friday. He was clearly very serious about doing this very well and entering the competition and winning something. And then there was us with 250 people having a party till 11 o'clock when they basically kick everybody out because, the competition is then on. People are beginning to put things on for the next day. Everything gets turned in on Saturday. But it's just a great feeling to see people and community come together, have fun, do something they love with passion, uninterrupted. There were not interruptions. There wasn't, the barbecue police walking around, worrying about this, worrying about that. It was just a wonderful summer, 36-hour period, basically, where people were just being great Americans. And, we have far too little of that taking place. We see, a lot of the noise we see is look at me, look at our cause, look at us. We see so much of that in the news. So many people with a fist in the air and scowl on their face, and they're angry about something. And this was just, I kind of needed this. We get that when we go to sporting events or concerts. We saw it at the Luke Combs concert a few weeks ago. But these types of events are so organic and unexpected. You're not buying a ticket to go see Patrick Mahomes throw a football or see somebody sing. You're just gathering. And I'm telling you, it was thousands of people on Friday night. They had shuttle buses running from parking lots down the street. It was a well-oiled machine. You couldn't put something on better than this. There is no better setting than the Lenexa BBQ. And I just congratulate everybody that participated and is just living their best life, essentially. That's the best way to say it, living their best life. And Steve and Bill are just those guys. Bill can't sit down. Bill's just always cooking, setting something up, cleaning, whatever. I'm like, I don't know how the guy was on his feet that long because they didn't really sleep overnight Friday. I went home and slept for 4.5 hours and then came back. Some of them stayed there. They left, took a shower, but came right back. Were there all night. I got back there about 5 a.m. on Saturday. But I couldn't, there's just no way. I had to get some sleep. And I knew that if I stayed in the tent and tried to sleep in one of those folding chairs or something, that just was not going to work. And I'd be a disaster on Saturday. So I wanted to be helpful and do what I could. And Steve is like America's host. He's just remarkable. All the people that were hosted and the fun that we had. And it was great seeing so many of you. I had many, many people come up. We thank Fox 4 for coming by and putting our alligator on the news. The alligator got devoured, man. I never even got to taste it. By the time I got through the food line, because I went back home and picked Jessica up to bring her back, by the time I did that, the gator was devoured. And they stuffed this gator with cream cheese and smoked it, and people were raving. They loved eating the alligator bites at the Great Lenexa BBQ. It was fun. I'm going to guess we had a lot more fun over the weekend than the Bidens. So Joe Biden now is taking heat for going to Camp David this weekend and bringing Hunter with him. He is spending an unusually large amount of time with his son, Hunter Biden, right now. They've got a lot of business to discuss. He's got bad polling. They've got real conflicts of interest that are they've either done things criminally to enrich themselves with American policy and foreign governments. They've either done something that's a crime, or they've done enough that has the appearance of criminal activity to enrich themselves, that it's really getting bad. The whistleblowers from the IRS have specifics. There's the WhatsApp text that Hunter put out there where he's basically saying, I'm sitting here with my dad right now, and you're going to do this by tonight, or, whatever is going to happen. It's bad. So it must feel like the walls are closing in on the Bidens, because even the left-wing media were all over Karine Jean-Pierre on Friday at the White House. They're asking questions of everyone everywhere now. The Sunday shows, they were talking about this topic finally. I'm starting to sense something that I thought was going to happen before, that maybe the media, which really drive all this, they're an extension of the party. Maybe they've had a directive from the Obamas go ahead and go get him, and let's get somebody else in here. And Gavin Newsom appears to me to be the guy. You would want to open this up, allow Kamala to run against Gavin Newsom. We know how that ends. Gavin Newsom would win the primary if that happened. I am still of the belief that Joe Biden is not going to be on the ballot next November. I can't get that out of my head. I don't know how they could possibly go forward with him as their candidate. It's so bad that Robert F. Kennedy is gaining traction. He's out there doing shirtless push-ups over the weekend, saying, I'm getting in shape for my debates against Joe Biden. And then RFK Jr. goes on the Bill Maher podcast, and Bill Maher just unloads. I mean, he's just unloaded now on the media and what's going on with RFK's campaign, saying, look, this is a real man, a real Democrat running against Joe Biden, and he should be taken seriously. And, of course, he's sitting there talking with Robert Kennedy Jr. He's the guest on the podcast. And then Maher just goes off on the New York Times. He starts talking about a story that was in the New York Times titled, Kennedy Pushes Right-Wing Ideas and Misinformation. And so Maher says, quote, right away, I'm pissed off because misinformation? How about you're the newspaper? Just tell me what was said and I'll decide what's misinformation. The arrogance of we know what the misinformation is about science. Continuing to read from the article, Maher says, Mr. Kennedy is a longtime amplifier and propagator of baseless theories. Again, Maher said, stopping to qualify, not the editorial page. This is the regular newspaper. Maher then said they honed in on a fact-check article about Kennedy, saying about the Affordable Care Act, Democrats have earned more money from pharmaceutical industries than the Republicans. The statement was incorrect, the Times says, according to an analysis by Stat News, whatever that is. Maher just unloads, and he started F-bombing, and he's tired of the media, and he can't believe that RFK Jr. is not getting any kind of preferential treatment. And what's so funny about this is the only time this ever happens to a Democrat. This just doesn't happen. We see it all the time with Trump or basically any Republican candidate. George Bush put up with this. McCain, Romney, when they were running, they took all the heat. Nobody on the left is used to this. So now these liberals are looking at this going, you know what, I think there might be something better than Joe Biden out there. And RFK Jr. is making a lot of waves. And yes, a lot of his thoughts, things that, as a Democrat, a lot of things he thinks are pretty moderate. Some of them can be considered right of center. But he's no conservative. So they have a lot of things they like about him. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is very concerned about the environment. But most of his stuff has to do with trash, pollution, running things cleanly. It's not that we're all going to die in 5 years because of global warming. He's not an alarmist like that. He's on the pharmaceutical companies. He gets it. He knows what the jab and COVID were all about. He is on this, and people on the left are seeing it for what it is. It's factual. It's truthful. It's relatable. And there's a lot of weird stuff going on. And as he's out there and they're labeling him with misinformation, this is like the biggest irony ever. They control the media on the left, but now most of the left media is not accepting of RFK Jr. at this point. But is it starting to turn? We see Maher doing this. We see the crackdown on Karine Jean-Pierre at the White House. Boy, they just broke her down on Friday with questions about Hunter Biden and whether Joe benefited and all this other stuff. So we're starting to see it. We're starting to see some cracks. And it's pretty funny when they look at their own guy, their own Democrat like RFK Jr. and say, boy, he's not getting a fair shake by the media. They're saying it's misinformation and disinformation. Well, welcome to our world where they just make stuff up and essentially start lying about you and slanting all their coverage against you. We'll see if that turns for RFK and if it turns against Joe Biden. Trump, meanwhile, was in Michigan over the weekend, and he had a couple of lines in his speech that people just went wild, roaring with approval. Trump said in Michigan on Sunday that on day one, when reelected, he's going to grant an executive order to pull all federal funding from any public school in America that teaches CRT or gender transitioning or what he calls, quote, disgusting sexual content in the schools. And the place went crazy roaring that he was going to pull all that funding. Trump is up in the polls since he was indicted. He's gaining in the polls since the indictment. And as the crowd was roaring and he was talking about what he's going to do with pulling the funding, Trump drops this one. And, Trump, every now and then you're just like, he comes up with an idea that, I'll just say this. Initially, this sounds great. I've not even heard this until today. So I haven't really had a chance to think it through. And maybe it's not possible, but it sounds just so simple and correct, which is most of Trump's policies are just simple and spot on. They're like, that's the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do for our citizens. That's the right thing to do for our kids. That's the right thing to do for our defense. That's the right thing to do for our economy. They're generally speaking very simple concepts. Most of conservatism is very simple. It's stay the hell out of the way. Get out of the way and let the people do the job. So Trump says, and this maybe isn't the most conservative, maybe this is conservative, maybe it isn't, but it just sounds like a great idea to me. He busts this one out, and maybe he said it before and I just missed it. He starts talking in his speech about how if he becomes president again, he's going to work and try to pass a law to where principals at public schools in America, like the head of the school, the principal, is an elected official. That you have to go win election by the people in your school district to be the principal. I mean, we elect a school board, right? It seems, would enough people really know who they're voting for? You can make an argument that it becomes a blind box thing and you're just pushing a name and you don't know what you're doing. But if you're really concerned about your child's school and what they're teaching and what they're doing there, and you don't like the principal, you can vote them out. At its base, it's just such a tremendous concept. It puts the principals on notice. You have to do the job of the people. You don't bring your own stuff to work with you. You don't just sit here and indoctrinate our kids with all kinds of weird stuff. We have a friend whose daughter is switching high schools this year. They're allowing that to happen because the one she was at, there was just too much of this crazy stuff going on. They're like, we heard there's less at this other high school. So she's going to go there. People are starting to see this and do this. And the kids are coming home with videos. They go to school, they see weird stuff, they take pictures, they show it, they share it with their parents, they put it on social media, and the parents are like, wow, that's happening in our schools? Yeah, you could put these people on notice. It can be done. Really good stuff. KKHI is proud to be sponsored by 360 Document Solutions. If you have copiers or printers or phone systems at your office, which you likely do, and you do business with one of these big major corporations, you've had this happen. Something breaks and you call and you don't know who you're talking to, and you're talking with somebody in Guam or something, and you can't get anybody out to fix it because there's nobody here. You got maybe you even got great equipment from a massive corporation, but then once they sell it to you, they're gone. There's nobody around to service. That's where 360 Document Solutions is completely different than the way you're likely doing business with the machines around your office. If you call 360 Document Solutions, they'll come out, they'll take a look at what you have, they'll give you an assessment, they'll probably be able to lower the price, get you out of what you've got, and then anytime you have any issue, you call them and they come. And they help. They'll service everything they have. This is in Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma. Mark Lindquist's a total pro. All right, so give them a call and say, come check out what we've got, and we don't want to talk to people on the phone in Guatemala or India anymore. We want to have somebody right here where we live in Missouri, Kansas, or Oklahoma. 913-745-5344. Online, 360documentsolutions.com. Earth Effects Outdoor is your new landscaping company. You want to build something cool? Fire pit in your backyard? Maybe an outdoor kitchen? Build in that grill like you've always wanted to do it? Earth Effects is great with hardscapes. They can do it all. But they also do great landscaping projects. If you're just looking for mulch or a few bushes or maybe a tree or two planted, Earth Effects Outdoor will do that as well. Daniel and his team have been doing this for over 25 years in the Kansas City area. They're going to take real great care of your needs, residential and commercial. Earth Effects Outdoor Living is online at eeoutdoor.com, 816-478-7700. That's 816-478-7700. Yes, they do ponds, water features, retaining walls, drainage, you name it, they build it. Earth Effects Outdoor is online at eeoutdoor.com. The Finch Knife Company, Finch Knife Company's got a couple of great new series out this summer. We've talked about the Hatfield collection is out, and now the Flint series of pocket knives from Finch Knife Company is available. You can see them all online at finchknifeco.com, or sometime this week, visit Shields in Overland Park, the Bullet Hole, or Teague Tractor. You're going to love a Finch pocket knife. They're made out of 154 centimeter U.S. steel blades. You'll keep life from getting dull. Each one comes with a Band-Aid. You may need it. They're really sharp and really great tools. It's a Finch pocket knife. Don't go with any imitations. There's only one. Finch pocket knife. Keep life from getting dull. Okay, the College World Series is coming to a head on Monday night. I can't wait to watch this. Now, I didn't see a lot of this over the weekend because I was busy with the barbecue and some other stuff. We had a birthday party yesterday and whatnot. So there's been some stuff going on. So I didn't see a lot of it. But on Saturday, the first game, LSU wins in 11 innings. They had a home run in the 11th to win the game by 1 run. It was a College World Series record 8th game in the College World Series decided by 1 run. So this thing's been nothing but nail-biters. All right? LSU's playing Florida. It's best 2 out of 3. And then that's for the championship. Game 1 goes to LSU, 11 innings, home run, 1-run game. Then they come back on Sunday, and Florida sets a College World Series record by scoring 24 runs, for crying out loud, and just putting the whoop all over LSU, 24-4. So it sets up the winner-take-all on Monday night. Of course, it's an all-SEC final, Florida versus LSU. It's on ESPN at 6 p.m., and I can't wait to watch it. They play with, if you've been bored by baseball because the Royals stink, give this a look on Monday night. If you get a chance to see it, give it a look. They play with incredible spirit and passion. It matters. It's everything you love in college sports. The fans are into it. The setting is perfect. It's really cool. I can't give you any insight into who's going to win. I don't know much about these teams. I haven't followed college baseball that closely. I know that when the College World Series happens, it's fun. Last second, you want to get in your car or go to Omaha, or you have friends up there and they want tickets. Tickets for Less has them available for this championship game tonight. Use the promo code KKHI at ticketsforless.com if you'd like to go. I can't wait to see this game. I just can't wait to watch. I hope it's a nail-biter. I don't think I want another 24-4 game, but if you're going to be on the brink of elimination, like your season's over, if you're Florida, you're down 1 game in this series, in the 3-game series, you're on the brink of elimination and you go out and score 24 runs, that's pretty rock star, if you ask me. That's pretty cool stuff. Very non-Royals-like. So we love that. And on Monday night, Florida and LSU will play for all the marbles in the College World Series in Omaha. The Royals have Monday off. They just completed a 3-4 road trip. Okay, some baby steps, little progress. The Royals now have 22 wins. They're 22-56. Look, Daniel Lynch was great again on Sunday, and the Royals have thought for a long time that Daniel Lynch and Brady Singer were can't-miss starting pitching prospects. And Singer looked like that after last year, but he hasn't been that this year. Lynch has been hurt, ineffective. That's a couple of delicious starts in a row now for Daniel Lynch. He was terrific, but the Royals lost 3-1 to a really good Tampa team. They've got a reliever on this team now named Austin Cox, who was not on anybody's radar that I know of. And he's done something quite remarkable. They've called him up from Omaha, and Austin Cox did something no major league pitcher has ever done before in the modern era. So that's like since 1961. In the modern era, Austin Cox, the first 39 batters he faced in his major league career, did not get a hit. He walked a couple. It wasn't perfect, but he basically went, what is that? 12 innings of no-hit baseball to start his career? That's crazy. Austin Cox, remember the name. He's a left-handed reliever. He's a power guy. Well, he's a reliever now. I think he started in the past, but he made Shohei Ohtani look bad. That's pretty crazy. So I don't know that the Royals are at any point this season going to get better, because right now they're just calling up everyone. They've had injuries. But the fall-off shouldn't be that bad. I've always said this about bad teams. When your players get hurt and you're a bad team, you don't really have much of a drop-off. Like we've talked about Jordan Lyles. The Royals went, 15 starts without winning a game when Jordan Lyles started? And his wins against replacement was minus 2.1 or something like that, which means you could have brought anybody up from Omaha and been better served than having Jordan Lyles go out there. So I think the point is well taken. Yes, they're bringing up all these kids. They're bringing up a lot of young guys that are basically surprised to be in the big leagues or didn't know that they'd ever get there. That's kind of interesting, and it's fun for them, and it's fun for the young guys to get the chance and get a chance to play and show what they can do and whatnot. That's all cool, but it's also just a giant red flag that the Royals stink to the high heavens. That, you know, you're getting so many guys coming up going, I never dreamed of this. I didn't know if I was ever going to make it to the major leagues, but they're here. You know, it's like help wanted. Kansas City Royals, help wanted. They've got the sign out for help wanted, indeed. So they're off today, the Royals are. Saturday, something interesting happened to former Royal Mike Moustakas. This might be the most interesting baseball thing that happened over the weekend. Moustakas is playing for the Colorado Rockies in Colorado, in Denver, and they got beat by the Angels 25-1. 25-1. They lost. After the game, Moustakas is informed that he just got traded to the Angels. So, the clubhouse kid takes everything out of Moose's locker, walks across the hallway, and puts it in the other locker room. That's pretty cool. Moustakas, somebody asked me, is he the last player from the Royals World Series team still playing? And that hasn't been that long ago. That was 2015. That wasn't that long ago, but he may be. He's 34 years old. Moose is. He's batting .270 this year with 4 home runs, so he's not great. He was a non-roster invitee this year and made the Colorado Rockies, and now the Angels have traded for him. They're going to use him. I don't know that he'll play every day, but they're going to use him. The Angels are 6 or 7 games over 500. They're a good baseball team, and they think they're going to be in a pennant chase. And Moose can add some depth and some experience, and he's won before, probably some leadership capabilities. Most famous for his catch in the Royals' third base dugout is Mike Moustakas. He also set, didn't he, in 2014? Did he set the Royals' postseason record for home runs? Was it 14 or 15 he did that? I think it was 14. The Royals in 14 just came out of nowhere, and all of a sudden we're in the World Series. They won the wild card game, and once they won the wild card game, they just started hitting bombs and beating people. That was crazy. So Mike Moustakas is now with the Angels. He switched dugouts basically over the weekend. Kind of a fun thing for Moose. Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC is home of the lifetime warranty. Right now they have low financing, under 2% on many, many, many models. They got a whole bunch of trucks. They got Silverados and Sierras all over the place right now at Roberts Robinson in Excelsior Springs. Call and ask for my man Tim on the showroom floor. His number is 816-826-1563. They're online at robertsrobinson.com. With GMC, we are professional grade. Also, don't forget their service. I mentioned, I think last week, about 2 months away from needing new tires. I'm going to go there and get new tires. They do all that work for you. They'll even come get your car, service it, and bring it back to you if you'd like at robertsrobinson.com. If you're going to buy a GM, it doesn't matter where you live. The dealer doesn't have to be the one around the corner anymore. So no matter where you live, Roberts Robinson can get it for you. They can build it for you, and they can get it to you. They'd be honored to do business with you online at robertsrobinson.com. Buck Roofing and Construction is, the Midwest's finest roofing company. It's not close. Ron takes such great personal pride in basically treating your home like it's his home. It's legit. And all of his supervisors are the same way. It's mandatory. It's the order of business at Buck Roofing. They have all kinds of roofing products across all types of price lines. Whether you've got a small rental property that you have invested in that needs a new roof and you don't want to spend a lot, or you're building your dream home and you want that beautiful tile roof. There's all kinds of ways to go with Buck Roofing. They also do repairs. You should keep the number handy in case you have a problem. 913-384-2680. You'll sleep well knowing Buck Roofing fixed the roof over your head. North Kansas City Dental is your new dentist. Dr. Bill Bush and his team of dentists would love to treat your family with regular dental care. They also do implants, cosmetic dentistry, crowns, veneers, TMJ, teeth whitening. There have even been a couple of Chiefs players that have put jewels in their teeth. Yeah, you can do that. You want a shiny grill? There you go. 2 offices just north of the river and in Westwood near the plaza. 816-471-2911 for North Kansas City Dental. Online at nkcdental.com. Buffalo Bills safety Jordan Poyer has canceled his celebrity golf tournament. Jordan Poyer had a celebrity golf tournament scheduled to raise money for charity, great charities, and he has canceled his tournament. It seems some players and sponsors were backing out after some negative comments were made online by people that Poyer wrote in a statement, sadly surprised us by their negative comments of some individuals trying to divide our community, unquote. What is this all about? How does an NFL star's charity golf tournament in South Florida, raising money for good causes, turn into something that divides the community? Oh my God, he had the audacity to play it at the Blue Monster course at Doral, which is where the PGA Tour played forever. Oh, who owns that course now? Oh, Donald Trump owns that course. And so it happened. And people came after him. And they wanted to make it political. And they wanted to divide and do what they do. And these are the people that I referenced at the top. These are not people that go to the Lenexa BBQ. These are people that wake up angry and seek to cause mayhem and divide people every moment of every day. And they attack a freaking charity golf tournament because it was at a golf course called Doral Country Club. The course is called the Blue Monster, but the owner is Trump. Wow. So yes, some golfers started to call and say, you know what, this issue's a little too hot for me, I'm out. Some sponsors called and said, hey, we're not supporting Trump here. You know, that wasn't what you were supporting. You were supporting a charity at a golf course. There's some insanity out there. You know, there's been a lot of this with the Saudi thing in golf too, and maybe this is just hitting the golf world. I don't really know. But what a shame. Jordan Poyer had to cancel his tournament. No money's going to be made for charity. They're not going to have a nice time. And all they did was create a problem. Again, stir the pot. That's all they've done. That's just an absolute shame. This thing was scheduled for July 10th. Poyer says, we'll put something together for next year. We're not going to give up. We want to help these charities. And I don't know about Jordan Poyer. I don't know his politics. I don't know any of that. There was none of this to that. It wasn't like, hey, we're going to go. It's Jordan Poyer's MAGA celebration at Trump Doral. That's not what this was. This was just a charity golf tournament that happened to be at that course. And then they started attacking it because it's owned by Trump. Absolute shame. Stuff like that happens. Keegan Bradley wins the Travelers Insurance Tournament this weekend in Cromwell, Connecticut at the TPC River Highlands. Keegan Bradley shot 23 under. Looks like Keegan Bradley now is going to make the Ryder Cup team this fall. He's an old dude, man. He's pushing 40, but he's playing really great golf. And he shot 23 under. It was nearly a record score. Rory finished 7th at 18 under, and he did an interview after the tournament, and they asked him about it all, and he was talking about the TPC River Highlands, which is only 6,800 yards long. It's the second shortest course they'll play all year. And he said, unfortunately, technology has passed this course by. So this is one of the TPC courses. That's the tournament players courses that basically the PGA Tour and the players own them, and the money that's made there benefits their pension fund and all this other stuff. They have played at this course since 1984, and Rory says it's obsolete. That this course, we're done with this course. It's too easy. That you just can't do what we shouldn't play here. This is not a championship-worthy course. I think they just thought 23 under is a bad score for a legitimate tournament. Sometimes they've been out in like Palm Springs and had really low scores. I think one of those tournaments maybe is a 5-day tournament, and they'd have really low scores. But congratulations to Keegan Bradley, and congratulations to Rory for saying it. We need a tougher venue, or they need to do something different here at this course to make it tougher. He said you could narrow the fairways and grow the rough. The problem is then the whole field just gets bunched up. We all just shoot the same score. I'm like, I don't know exactly what he's looking for. He is the longest guy out there on tour. So for him, he wants long courses because he's longer than the other dudes. I know what he wants. But most of the great players, multiple major championship winners throughout the history of golf, have always wanted tougher courses. They feel like they have a better chance to beat the other players the tougher the challenge. The harder the course, Tom Watson used to say this all the time, Just give me the hardest course. I want to go play these other guys on the hardest courses. Make them as hard as you can. And most of your multiple major winner players believe that helps them have a much, much better chance of winning golf tournaments when they do that. Our final here will be about golf. Stick around for that. It's a fun one. It really is. Brought to you by Amazing Garage Floors. Online at AmazingGarageFloors.net. Advantage Termite and Pest Control, thanks to Aaron and his family for taking great care of the Keatsmans and any possible critters we'd have around here. They're great. Online at AdvantageTPC.com. The new car Image is basically your automotive concierge. They provide mobile detailing services in Kansas City, Overland Park, South KC, North, Lawrence. The newcarimage.com is the website. The new car Image, 816-499-1470. This is a great present, by the way, to give to someone, or just do it for yourself because your car is going to be better than showroom new. You get that ceramic coating on there. It's not you can't. This is, we used to wax our cars. Say, we're going to wax our car. This ceramic coating that he puts on your car, you will not believe how it pops. It's really something. Nobody freaks out and loves a clean car more than my man Brad at the new car Image. 816-499-1470. And don't forget the KK list and all the great businesses there like MyPillow.com. Most of them there are listed. MyPillow.com, MyStore.com, things like that have a promo code of KKHI. So when you go to the KK list and you're doing a wonderful thing in supporting our sponsors, don't forget the promo code. If it's available, if they ask you for a promo code at any of our sponsors, they're all the same. It's KKHI. KKHI is your promo code. You save big at MyPillow. It is the largest discount MyPillow offers. MyPillow.com, MyStore.com. KKHI is your promo code. We stick with golf for the final today. This is a fun story. I put this in the newsletter over the weekend, but didn't talk much about it. I thought I'd take a couple of more minutes here. Adam Sandler and some of the movies he's made in the past are some of my favorite movies. I think the guy basically was hilarious. I think he's done a couple of movies on Netflix that have been pretty good recently, but I'm not on Netflix yet. I'm on some of the streamers, but not Netflix. But I'm going to get Netflix because the Patrick Mahomes series starts in July. So we're going to get Netflix. I'll catch up. I've heard Adam Sandler's done a couple of pretty good movies on there. But when I think of Adam Sandler, I think of basically Happy Gilmore. That's what I think of Adam Sandler. I love that movie. My favorite part of the movie is not everybody else's favorite part. My favorite part of Happy Gilmore is when Happy and Bob Barker get into a fight. It puts me in stitches every time. Just thinking of Bob Barker being in a fight is preposterous. I mean, he's like the boy next door. I mean, everybody has loved Bob Barker his entire life, right? And he cares for the animals. Don't forget to spay or neuter your pet. Just something real folksy about Bob Barker. He just had something that other people don't, and he's still alive, very old, and he's close to 100, and has been out of the public spotlight for a long time. But the 1996 film Happy Gilmore, he gets into a fist fight with Happy Gilmore. It's really funny. I mean, it's a great and funny scene and a good movie if you haven't seen it. So Adam Sandler plays a hockey player named Happy Gilmore who becomes a pro golfer because he learns he can hit a golf ball a mile. Now there is a real Happy Gilmore, and Adam Sandler sent a tweet to this young man last week congratulating him and wishing him the best of luck in his career because a young man, 17 years old, in Bloomington, Indiana, his name is Landon Gilmore, but his mom started nicknaming him Happy at like age 5, and it stuck, and everybody calls him Happy, and he's a really good golfer, and I think he's got a year to go still in high school. He just shot 66 last week at a junior amateur qualifier. He has accepted a scholarship to Ball State University, is going to be a college golfer, and his name is just officially listed as Happy Gilmore. It's fantastic. Now, I don't know how much pressure this puts on him. It's certainly going to bring some notoriety and spotlight to him. The story reads like this. He doesn't hate being called Happy, but he doesn't really want to play it for all it's worth either. Like, that's just what people have called him, and he didn't know any different. He was a little kid hearing it. I'm sure he's watched the movie a million times and certainly knows all the backstory, but pretty cool of Adam Sandler to reach out to this guy and say, good luck, Happy Gilmore, on your college career at Ball State University. We wish young Landon the best. He's only 17 years old, but apparently a very, very talented golfer. Wouldn't it be unbelievable if that kid made it to the PGA Tour somehow and became a pro and a real Happy Gilmore was out there? That would be something else. Really, really, really cool. Hey, we're going to have a great week leading up to the holiday weekend. We're going to do something we've never done here. I'm going to go Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday next week. That's 4 days without a podcast. My apologies to you. In the past, when we've taken a couple days off or something or been out of town, I'll still post a podcast that I'll record before I leave. But we're going to have a long holiday weekend. We're going to be Lakers for the weekend, and we'll be back in on July 5th. But it feels kind of like a holiday week leading up to the holiday week. Is this 4th of July sort of like anybody else feel like 2 weeks of holiday? I'm going to get some fireworks. I got some red, white, and blue clothes. We're going to have some fun. We're going to have a really, really nice, safe holiday is the way to go. But we're not slowing up anytime soon. We're going to go full speed ahead all week long here with Kevin Keatsman Has Issues. We'd encourage you to hit the like, follow, or subscribe button wherever you listen. If you don't mind, that's absolutely free. And tell a friend about the podcast. Maybe they'll hit the subscribe button as well. Absolutely free at kkhasissues.com.
Thanks for listening to Kevin Keatsman Has Issues, presented by Roberts Robinson Chevrolet Buick GMC. To get exclusive patrons-only podcasts, receive a weekly newsletter, and attend in-person patrons-only parties, visit kkhasissues.com and become a patron today. This has been a production of Crooked Tail Media Incorporated.